costs. I found I could sell huge programs, and there was no practical limit to what I could charge. This was a true breakthrough, and it became yet another way to be paid far more than I was worth. But what sort of breakthrough was it? For one thing, I wasn't in the training business or the speaking business or even in the customer service business anymore. I was in the cost reduction business. Cost reduction is one of the two ways companies can profit. The other way is to sell more effectively. Being in the cost reduction business enabled me to make a powerful case before CFOs, chief financial officers. These are the generally tight-fisted, pragmatic, and even cynical individuals that are in charge of a company's purse. If they're on your side, it can make all the difference in selling a program. As a bunch, they don't care about glamour or flash or glitter, unlike some corporate fad purchasers that want, for example, the big-name speaker for an event. Plus, I had no competitors. No one else could do what I was doing. They didn't have the knowledge, and they were actually making calls longer. Now, if you're in a monopoly position, as I was, you need to know two things. First, you can charge practically anything you want for your product or service. And second, monopolies never last. Sooner or later, someone will try to knock you off. You'll attract imitators, code breakers, spies that will try to do your act and undercut you in price. But for a while, you will be riding the crest of your innovation. What's really crucial to appreciate is that I was doing what I had always done. But now, I was being paid far more than what I was worth. I was a professor, and I taught at universities. Then by changing departments and course formats and audiences, I still taught at universities, but I was paid 10 times and even more to do it. In this case, I was doing customer service training before I discovered how to bill for it creatively. Then I was able to charge 10 times and more what I had been charging, but I was still doing customer service training. You see the pattern here, right? Same Gary, more money. Same activities, more money. Same talents, more money. You can do it too. The first step is to state a clear goal. Putting it in money terms is helpful. If you're making $50,000, imagine tripling it to $150,000. The next step is to ask, what will it take to triple my income? I had a paper route when I was a kid. As I mentioned, I delivered the news for the Herald Express, but there was a second paper in town, the Citizen News. I was ambitious, so I contacted that paper. I asked if the same route I was covering for the Herald was available for me at the Citizen News. It was, and I nearly doubled my income on the spot. At first, keeping the two subscriber bases clear in my mind was quite a task. On more than one occasion, a Herald customer received the other paper on her doorstep. My handlebars were twice as heavy to manipulate, but it was worth the extra effort. I toured with one of my seminars. A fellow who worked for AT&T saw my act in Ohio, and he decided to become my clone. Apparently, he quit his day job to become a consultant in my topical area. We would run into each other every now and then at conventions, and he reminded me that I trained him on one of my tours. I think he was trying to show up the master when he shared the following story with me. What he was doing was really showing how clever a person he was and how you can really multiply your income. Gary, he asked, have you ever noticed getting inquiries from consulting prospects that ask you what you charge and then they disappear after that? I replied, well, it happens. I mean, some people kick tires without having any serious intention to buy. But Gary, have you ever noticed that happens a lot to you with prospects who are in Ohio? Not especially, I said. Then he told me about his grand strategy. Sometimes I've encouraged people to call you and get a quote, knowing you'd come back high. Then he asked me what I charged per day. I said it was about $3,500 on multiple day contracts. His charge was only $1,200, about a third of mine. How can you get away with charging only $1,200 a day? I asked him in genuine amazement, knowing what I knew about overhead. He went on to explain that out of 5 billing days, he might be at a client's site for only one. During the 4 that he was not present, he was doing multiple things for multiple clients. They all thought he was working full-time on their projects, but he may have been dedicating a half hour to an hour at most. Because